Though we entered the cycling market with bike computers, we've now created an entire ecosystem of cycling products that work seamlessly together to really help elevate your ride. Today, we're going to talk about the Garmin ecosystem on my personal bike. Up front on the bike, we have the Edge 1040 GPS cycling computer. Right below it, we have the Varia UT800 smart headlight. On the back of the bike, we have the Varia RTL 515. For pedals, I'm using the Rally XE200s, which is the dual-sided power meter. And for heart rate data, I have the HRM Pro Plus. Stick around to the end though, we're gonna dive into the Edge specifically itself, a lot of the data it provides, as well as the Garmin Connect mobile app. Starting off, we have a purpose-built GPS bike computer. This is the Edge 1040. This is a phenomenal GPS cycling computer. First of all, solar, so it's a hot, sunny day today. It is harnessing the sun's energy for additional battery life. We'll throw up some of the battery numbers here just for perspective. First question I always get when I bring up my Edge is, why not just use my phone? And I think that's a valid question. Phones are great for when you start riding, but they run into limitations very quickly. My phone is my support line while I'm out there. This is where having a dedicated built-in device really comes into play. I need something that can withstand whatever nature's gonna throw at you. Whether that be hot, cold, negative temperatures, 100+ degrees, I need a device that's gonna work in all of those weather conditions. And that's what my Edge provides for me. Additionally, I need a touch screen that's gonna keep up with those weather conditions. So if it's raining out, if I'm wearing gloves, if it's muddy, the touchscreen works in all of those conditions and provides you all of the data you need on customizable data screens, as well as the navigation piece. It's all right in front of you on a purpose-built device. Next, we're gonna talk about the UT800 smart headlight. So it's smart, what does that mean? It pairs with your Edge. If you're moving faster, it can adjust based upon the speed you're going, as well as when you start your activity, it can automatically turn on those lights. So moving to the back of the bike, at the beginning I mentioned the RTL 515. Yes, radar tail light. Let me break it down for you. This is a light that you can be seen up to a mile away in daylight, super bright. It has provided me more visibility on the road to drivers, and the radar piece really gives me better awareness while I ride. So what the radar is it'll show you cars coming up behind you. It'll display that on your Edge, and it'll give you little indications of how many cars are behind you and the speed that they're going, and a little white dot to indicate the cars that are coming up behind you. There's also an audible tone that I've set up, so it'll alert me when those cars are coming up. This will allow me to know a car's coming up behind me and I can move over to the side of the road, or if it's a really tight section of road, I can hold my line until it opens up and it's safe for them to pass. Next, we're gonna talk about the Rally power meters. So these are the Rally XE200s. We offer them in 3 styles: the Shimano SPD, the Shimano SPD SL, and the Look Keo. The great thing about a pedal-based system is you can easily transfer them between bikes. So this is my gravel bike, but if I want to swap them between my gravel bike and my mountain bike, that's a super easy process. These have been absolutely fantastic for me, providing dual-sided power. We do offer a single-sided power as well. We also offer a conversion kit if you want to swap pedal bodies. So that's the ecosystem on my bike. We do offer a couple additional products that I think are really cool that I just personally don't run. So one of them would be the RCT 715. That's a radar, taillight, and camera built in together. So it has the same radar functionality, same great light, as well as a camera. So that's really fun for races or group rides, or just, again, more awareness of what's going on behind you. It's fun when you put an attack in a group ride or in a race and you get to see everybody's pain face behind you. Additionally, one thing I didn't mention on my bike is electronic shifting and the compatibility with my Edge. So when I pair my Edge and my shifting together, I can see what gear I'm in. There's a data screen that allows me to see the gear I'm in on my actual Edge itself, and I get battery life indications when the ride is over. And it tells me how many shifts I do during my ride, which is just really fun and interesting information to know if I'm favoring a specific gear or if I'm utilizing my gears to its full capacity. So now that we've finished a ride, we're going to go ahead and look at the data that the Edge provides, and as well as the data in the Garmin Connect mobile app. So we just did a little ride today for some of the B-roll of the video. And so this is a little bit of what you would see on the post-ride screen. It's gonna give you the mile per hour, the distance, the time, the temperature. Yes, it was a hot one out there. And if you click in, you can see a map of where we were at, as well as some really cool pieces of information. And this really does come to life in the Garmin Connect mobile app, but it is a really great snapshot on the device itself. This is what we did in the ride today. You can see cadence, heart rate, power, nutrition, so you can see how much sweat was the estimated sweat, calories burned, elevation, and then this is where it gets pretty cool with the cycling dynamics. This is from the Rally dual-sided power meters. And again, I'm on the XC200s. So you see maximum power, seated power, standing power, and it's pretty cool. You can see all the peak phases. And so this is great information if you're gonna go and talk to your coach or be able to look at over time and really dive into some of this data. Again, we talked about the shifting, and so I was able to pair it with my shifting. And so I can see my front ring shifts as well as the rear. And this is where it gets pretty cool with the solar too. And with an hour and a half being outside, we charged 18 minutes. So in my opinion, that's quite a bit. Every 5 miles, the Edge automatically sets up a lap time. So you can go through and see every 5 miles what the different data is showing there. I don't know if there's any climbs. There's one climb there on the course itself. The was not through a route, so this is doing climbs just based upon as you ride, it'll find some climbs that exist there. You can really dive into that climb as well, see your average gradient ascent. It was a pretty small climb, so there's not a crazy amount of data in there, but it is quite interesting to see. And then you can see the training effect for the ride too, your aerobic and anaerobic. Let's dive into the phone though, and that's really where we can see this data come to life. All right, now we've gone ahead and opened up the Garmin Connect mobile app. I went to a ride that we did a little bit earlier in the year, and so this was a race. This was a gravel race out in the Flint Hills of Kansas. And so this is where you click on the activity and you get this initial screen here. It's a great snapshot. You can share this with your social. This was one of my bigger days of the year on the bike, and pretty interested with all the data that it provides. So it starts off with a map. You can see the time, the distance, the amount of calories burned, the average speed. You can also do a little bit of a self-evaluation to see how hard the day was. I probably should have changed my perceived effort because this was a full gas day. The amount of solar time gained, some of my sensors, and my battery life there. You have an option here at the top to be able to change what views you're looking at and the way this data is displayed. So we're gonna go into a little bit more of the analytics side here. We have the speed for the day, the total time, average heart rate. Yeah, you can see 8 hours of ride time with 161 beats. That is quite a bit of an effort there. My Edge just turned off, so you may have saw that notification pop up that I lost connection with the Edge. That's great for just being able to understand if your Edge is close to you or not. Stamina, you'll see why it's one there in just a second. The training effects, and this gives you an indication of what this was benefiting. So this was mainly benefiting my VO2 max. 5 is the highest aerobic and anaerobic value you can receive. So it was a max effort for me, as well as a 3.7 in the anaerobic. Here's some of the power data. I think this is kind of interesting. Again, this is very personalized for me. I'm not the fittest athlete in the world. I wish Slow and Steady won the races. It turns out it doesn't. Some great data here, and it really allows you to dive into some of the different information you're looking at, as well as total ascent, descent, max and minimum elevation, some of the cycling dynamics here. This is really where you can dive in. Again, it's great to do with a coach or somebody that really knows this data inside and out. You can see your calories burned, as well as your estimated sweat loss. This is great for really dialing in your nutrition plan. I've done some math and understand how many calories I'll burn per hour and at different intensities. And so it really allows you to see how many carbs you need to be taking in, how many milliliters of water or ounces of water that you need to be consuming. Temperature on the day, yeah, it started off nice and cold and then warmed up. And then some of your intensity minutes there as well. Again, we talked about the auto lapping, so you can see all the laps for the day here. So if you turn your phone sideways, you can go ahead and get a full list of data here. Finally, we have the graphs page. This is just a visual representation of some of the data that we were seeing before. So we will have the speed, You can see the 3 rests there. So you can see the speed, and you can see the 3 individual checkpoints that we had there, the heart rate for the day. This was a maximum effort day for me. I set a 3-minute to 8-hour power record, so everything in between there definitely hurt my body a little bit, as you can see reflected in the stamina. Performance conditioning. This gives you a general snapshot of how well you are ready to perform on that day, if you're performing above your baseline or below your baseline. So I was slightly below the baseline for the day, but I'm still really happy with the effort. Then you can see the power numbers here. So the beginning started faster and then it tapers off. Unfortunately, that seems how most of us race. Left-right balance, so that's a great indication for injury if you're having quite a bit off on your left-right, or something's wrong with the bike there itself. Cadence, respiration rate, elevation, the standing and sitting power, so a little bit of understanding of when you were sitting versus standing. I like to ride seated most often, especially on some of those gravel climbs where it's really chunky and your back wheel slips if you stand up. Peak power phases, a lot of different data in here as we continue to go through, and then some of the graphs here of your total time and your heart rate zones, as well as power zones. So it's just a really great snapshot of being able to dive in to all of your data here. You can really spend a lot of time nerding out and seeing a great snapshot of your overall fitness and your activities that you do. You can go back over time like we did today and looked at some of my older activities versus what you could see for today's activity. So thank you for watching today. I really appreciate the time. If you have any additional questions, please put them in the comments below, and have a great day.